In this video, we're going to work through number 2 and 4 on page 53. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this on a separate piece of paper. So this is number 2 on page 53. They want us to solve the equation 20 minus 2 times 3x minus 1 equals x minus 6. And we need to justify each step. So we're going to be writing a proof. So I'm gonna set up my 2-column proof. We know that I'm gonna have my statements on the left and my reasons on the right. So if you don't have a table provided to you, you can go ahead and make your own. Now we know that we always start with the equation we're given. So 20 minus 2 times 3x minus 1 equals x minus 6. And that reason is always given. And I'm gonna go ahead and kind of solve it as we go. So the first thing I notice is there's parentheses that I wanna get rid of. So I know I'm going to distribute that -2. And I'm gonna write this next step down. This is step 1. When I do -2 times 3x, I get -6x. -2 times -1 is +2. And that's the only thing I did. And so I use the distributive property. So my reason is distributive property. Next, if I was going to solve this equation, I would go ahead and combine any like terms that I can. I can combine the 20 and the 2 because they're on the same side of the equal sign. Remember, if it helps you to draw a line down your equal sign, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do 20 plus 2 in my next step, and I want to make sure I rewrite it as a separate step. 20 plus 2 gets me 22, and everything else just stays the same. And so my reason for doing that, when I simplify or combine like terms, remember that property is called the substitution property. I know that I need to get all my x's on one side. So the next step in my equation is I want to get rid of this x. So I know I'm going to subtract x from both sides. When we're writing a proof though, instead of just, subtracting x on both sides here, I want to take my statement and rewrite it. So I'm going to rewrite it first in my formal proof. Now I'm ready to show that I'm going to subtract x on both sides. So make sure when you're ready to subtract that you rewrite the equation first and then show the subtraction on both sides. And when we subtract something from both sides of the equation, that's called the subtraction property of equality. I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. So we know that when we do x minus x, that cancels. And so I'm left with -6 on the right. -6x minus 1x gets me -7x. And so I simplified, so I used substitution. So in order to get x by itself, I've got to get rid of this 22. This is a positive 22, so to undo it, I'm going to subtract 22 on both sides. But remember, before just writing -22, I need to rewrite my equation. Now I can go ahead and show that I'm going to subtract 22. So rewrite that equation when you move on to a new statement. and I use the subtraction property of equality. These are going to cancel. I'm left with negative 7x on the left and negative 28 on the right. So remember, when I simplify to get negative 7x over here and negative 28 over here, I used substitution. This is a long one. To get x by itself, if I look at my equation, I have to undo this negative 7 that's being multiplied by x. To undo multiplication, I'm going to divide. Now again, before I just show division on both sides, I need to rewrite my equation because this is a proof. So now I'm ready to show that I'm going to divide both sides by negative 7. When I divide both sides by a number, I'm using the division property of equality. My last step, my last statement, I'm ready to actually get a value for this, right? So I'm left with x on the left. Negative 28 divided by negative 7 is positive 4. And so when I did this division and I simplified to get 4, remember when I simplify, that's the substitution property. We never write the word prove as our last reason. Prove is not a reason. Substitution was how we went from here to here. I've got my final answer, so my proof is complete.